This is the story about the legendary adventures of a wooden puppet who wanted to be a real boy. He was naughty and made mistakes, but had a big heart and had the courage to do what is right. Let me introduce you to Pinocchio. Pinocchio and Geppetto stood inside the dark belly of the terrible dogfish. The giant sea monster breathed heavily. Each breath sounded like a roaring hurricane. Geppetto felt hopeless. Geppetto sat on a broken crate and covered his face. Pinocchio felt brave. He had survived con artists, termites, and a cruel circus master. The giant sea monster did not scare him. Pinocchio knew he and Geppetto had to act fast. The dogfish suffered from severe asthma. The monster slept with its massive mouth wide open. Pinocchio felt a salty breeze of fresh air blowing down the throat of the monster. The salty breeze showed the path to freedom. They needed a boat to escape. Pinocchio gathered sturdy planks from the rotting merchant ship. Geppetto found 4 empty wooden barrels to use as floats. Pinocchio needed thick rope to bind the raft. He searched the dark lower decks of the wrecked ship. He found a large coil of rope. A giant purple sea slug slept on the rope. The sea slug was as large as a cow. The creature hissed when Pinocchio drew near. Pinocchio could not fight the slimy slug. He had to outsmart the monster. Pinocchio remembered a barrel of spicy chili powder in the ship's kitchen. He ran to the kitchen and filled a bucket with the red powder. Pinocchio crept quietly toward the giant sea slug. Pinocchio threw the spicy chili powder at the giant slug. The slug breathed in the red dust. The creature sneezed loudly. The giant slug slithered away in a panic. Pinocchio grabbed the heavy rope. He dragged the rope to Geppetto. Geppetto worked with speed. Geppetto was a master woodcarver. Geppetto tied the planks and barrels together. Pinocchio and Geppetto had a sturdy raft. They held 2 broken brooms as paddles. The water became still. The dogfish began to snore loudly. The dogfish was asleep. Pinocchio and Geppetto pushed the raft into the dark water. They climbed onto the raft. They paddled toward the throat of the monster. The journey was terrifying. The throat tunnel was dark and steep. Slippery green seaweed covered the walls. Pinocchio and Geppetto paddled hard against the current. Suddenly, a swarm of glowing crabs dropped from the ceiling onto the raft. The crabs landed on the raft. The crabs snapped their sharp claws. Pinocchio stayed calm. Pinocchio used the wooden paddle like a club. Pinocchio swept the glowing crabs off the raft. The crabs fell into the dark water. Pinocchio and his companion paddled upward. The starry night sky appeared ahead. The monster's mouth stood wide open. Rows of sharp teeth framed the exit like giant white mountains. Pinocchio and Geppetto were close to the exit. Suddenly, a cloud of spicy chili powder drifted up the dogfish's throat. The dogfish stopped snoring. The monster took a sudden, deep breath. The ocean water rushed backward. This current pulled the raft away from the exit. The monster prepared to sneeze. The giant jaws began to snap shut. Geppetto paddled hard, but the raft moved too slowly. The monster's teeth descended rapidly. Pinocchio understood the danger. He dropped the paddle and jumped off the raft. Pinocchio swam toward the front of the monster's mouth. Pinocchio planted his wooden feet on the monster's bottom jaw. He pushed his wooden hands against the top jaw. Pinocchio wedged his body upright between the teeth. The giant jaws clamped down hard. The pressure was immense. Pinocchio's wooden body creaked and groaned. The wood did not break. Pinocchio was strong. He held the monster's mouth open. Geppetto looked back in terror. Pinocchio nodded toward the ocean. Pinocchio urged Geppetto to keep going. Geppetto paddled the raft with his remaining strength. Geppetto passed Pinocchio and floated into the open sea. Pinocchio was safe. Now, Pinocchio had to escape. The monster's lungs erupted with a giant sneeze. A violent blast of air and water shot up the monster's throat. Pinocchio released the monster's jaws. The sneeze hit Pinocchio. The force launched Pinocchio from the mouth like a cannonball. Pinocchio flew into the night sky. Pinocchio spun through the air. He landed in the ocean with a splash. The enchanted wood kept Pinocchio afloat. He bobbed on the surface of the water. Pinocchio floated on the gentle waves. Geppetto steered the raft toward the splashing sound. Geppetto reached into the cold water and pulled Pinocchio onto the raft. The terrible dogfish snored behind them. The monster did not know they had escaped. Pinocchio and Geppetto sat on the raft. Bright stars filled the sky. Pinocchio smiled. Pinocchio had made mistakes before. Tonight, Pinocchio had saved Geppetto. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next quest. A like and a subscribe will help us stay connected with you. Also be a great source of encouragement for our team.